Hey folks, I'm Sarah and I'm on the 2025 jury for what I think is the best book prize for literary fiction from small presses. It's called the Republic of Consciousness Prize, United States and Canada, and it is dedicated to literary fiction from small presses in North America. Over the next few months, I will be sharing every single book nominated for the prize, and while I can't share my personal opinions on each book just yet, I will share enough details so that you can get to know the book and the publisher. Every book gets its very own video, and you are not going to want to miss a single one. Next up is book number 20. It's The Red Light Starts Blinking. It's by Jonathon Kane, and it's published by Diachroneity Books. I'm going to change up my format for this one a little bit and actually start with the publisher instead of starting with the book, because I think it will actually help set up the book. So Diachroneity Books is a creative outlet for the collective publication of book-length fiction. If you have been here a while, then you maybe know that I love about pages of indie presses. They're so fun to read, and this is a winner. So they say about themselves: we bring odd, low literary creatures into the world, the niche or experimental kind, the sort that make conventional publishers say, "What an intriguing idea, but how would we sell that? Who's even the audience?" Diachro isn't so keen on convention. Our vibe is more like an artist collective than a top-down business, a boarding house for a ragtag gang of literary partners in crime. We hold up our authors hold up us, our authors hold up our other authors, and then we collectively moan about how hard it is to get featured on Book Talk. We cooperate with writers of unhomable literature to produce uncanny books that claw at, freak out, and gently tickle the minds of readers who want media that challenges, not coddles. Jonathon Kane lives in Australia. This is his debut fiction collection. So let's start with the cover. This is a cockatoo. I want to point this out because my son he helps me open the books as they arrive in the mail, and he was very delighted by this cover with its cockatoo, and it is very striking. That is a memorable cockatoo for sure. This is definitely experimental, very fragmented fiction. It's described on the back of the book as less a collection of short stories and more a set of interlocking teeth, which is a great description. It follows a set of characters. Many of them are men, not all. I believe, as says in the description, they either live or are visiting or drifting through Australia's Blue Mountains region. There are definitely a lot of recurring themes. One of the big themes are people who have gone missing. That keeps happening over and over again in the book. There are also recurring characters and situations and images that seem to float in and out of the stories or the sections. The stories that are easiest to sum up include one about a man who takes a gardener position at a retirement home. There's a story about a reclusive character who moves back home after their father's death and tries to make sense of a bunch of messages that the father has written around the house in chalk. And I think the implication is that the father was suffering from some sort of dementia and was writing all of these messages. And there's another story called Arthur, My Grandfather in 100 Pieces, which is a numbered list. I love a story that's a numbered list. It's a numbered list of things that this grandfather does and says. And it's funny and touching and sad and sometimes infuriating, but it's a great piece. Some of the stories are a lot denser and harder to explain in a short video, but I will say that there is a big range of structure used. Some of the stories are structured like the numbered list in a way that I feel like gives you breathing room after a denser section. I really appreciate it when experimental fiction in particular does that, where there's something that's particularly dense and then there's a bit still interesting, still experimental, but it definitely gives you a bit of breathing room before you dive back in. And along those lines, peppered throughout the book, there are sections of a recurring piece called News in Brief Lives. It's like news headlines like you might see in Chicago every day in the news in Chicago, like man shot in the Loop or woman mugged on the L platform. But these are a little different, and I'll give you a few examples. So like local woman veers between being an omnivore and a vegan, depending on who she's dating. Local man spends an entire day alone watching the light move slowly across the lawn. Local man, when asking his father for bread, receives in turn stock quotes. Local woman says, I have no friends and you're one of them. I want to come back to this term that the publisher used on their about page, unhomable literature. I love that phrase, and it got me thinking a lot. And you know that the publisher does not intend that to refer in any way to the quality of the writing that they publish. It's really just shorthand for books that are hard to market. Books without comp titles, books without a clear genre, books without any connection to like current trends. Basically, books that don't have those kind of easy tags that publishers use to say to readers, hey, this book is for you. Because publishers know they only have a few seconds to grab. They often only have a few seconds to grab most readers' attention. So they really lean on those shortcuts, like any business does when trying to sell something to you. But there are plenty of readers out there who don't want those easily labeled books, who actually prefer the harder to define stuff. And those readers need a way to find books too. So that's why I think unhomable literature is such a brilliant phrase, because it's doing exactly what those other, usually bigger publishers think they can't do. It instantly tells the right kind of reader, this is a book for you. It's a smaller audience, but it's still out there. So I'm so curious, do you have a book that you love that you might consider unhomable literature that eventually obviously did find a home? Do you even think that you are a reader that would ever gravitate towards those, what you might call unhomable literature? Or do you prefer something in a particular genre or that has a particular hook? I would love to know in the comments. And that's just one of many incredible books nominated by one of many incredible publishers. The long list of 10 books is usually announced in mid-January-ish, but I guarantee you there are going to be more than 10 amazing books from these nominees. So if you love offbeat, under-the-radar literary fiction, you are going to want to follow along. Click above or below for the next nominated book. If I've filmed it, it'll be available there. If not, stay tuned for just a little while longer. And in the meantime, you can click the playlist below that will contain all of the nominated books that I've shared so far. Again, my name is Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me here. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.